And this goal setting session is more focused on knowing yourself. It's going through that self-discovery phase where you're trying to decide, what am I trying to do this year? What am I trying to do with my life in general? Key things to set the tone. I know fear is always a big deal. So please approach this conversation and everything we're going to be talking about today with the understanding that if you're scared to do it because you're scared of failure, you're going to fail already if you don't do it at all. So your fear that is stopping you, oh my God, if I do this thing, what if I fail? What you have done is that you've accepted defeat 10 steps ahead and you've decided that, okay, I've already failed. Let me just walk out of this conversation. So first, we're going to tackle fear. After which we will dig a little deeper into like motivations for the goals that we claim to set for ourselves. And then we'll talk about process, and then we'll talk about like the steps you should go through while setting your goals. So now let's start from the beginning. Fear. One of the biggest fears I have noticed in my community, and I don't know if that applies in this community as well, is the fear of starting. So it's like we make this big deal around starting. So, oh my God. I think one of the biggest excuses I've heard is, what will people say? And that is so cute. It's like, okay, so when they say these things that you think they will say, what next? What's the worst that can happen when they say it? You know, we give too much power to people's thoughts and opinions. And these opinions don't even carry weight. Except, of course, this person has like major influence. Maybe the person is like Bill Gates. You know, maybe Bill Gates says that something is going to happen. Maybe I can care. Or maybe Obama says, oh, blessing is cancelled. Maybe I can care. But funny enough, if Obama says I'm cancelled, he's only going to throw publicity my way, which means that more people are going to discover me. So you have to first tackle your fear and understand, why exactly are you really afraid? There's this video I watched recently. The guy was about to be tested for, like, you know how when you're going into a store, they check your temperature. I don't know how many of you have seen that video on Twitter. And so the security man pointed the temperature tester at him, but the temperature tester looked somewhat like a gun. So this guy was almost too sure that they were trying to kill him. So the fear of what this temperature tester is going to do to him, a thermometer, but like those gun-looking ones now. So the fear, just the fear that, oh my God, this thing is a gun. Nobody can tell me anything else. Like, the guy passed out a few times. He was running. They were trying to hold him down to check his temperature. And then eventually, when they finally did, like, he now realized, oh, crap, it's not a gun. Why am I telling you this story? A lot of times we just imagine the worst. It's like, oh, if I post this video, everybody's going to say this, everybody's going to say that. Or if I take this step, everybody's going to do this. And they probably don't even care. Or it's probably not going to be that bad. You know, you might probably hold positive things ahead for you. But the problem is, you will never know because you were too scared to even take the risk. Second thing, dealing with fear. How I have dealt with fear is I put myself, as long as the thing that I'm scared of is not going to kill me. This is a very important caveat. So, for example, I like lions from afar, but I don't think I want to be in the same space with a lion, except if they domesticate. I don't even care if it's domesticated. I don't even want to know. Do you understand? And that's a valid fear because the lion can kill me. I also do not want to be caught in the middle of the road for no good reason. Like, I am either crossing or minding my business. So I wouldn't want to stand in front of the road and say, oh, you know, I'm scared of speeding cars. So let me stand in the middle of a speeding, you know, a very busy road to prove that I'm trying to conquer my fear. I would never do that. I also would never jump from a very high building on my own, of my own volition. So these are important things. So you need to understand that there is fear that is backed to protect your life. Please focus. When that fear covers your body, just accept it. You know, just fight or flight. Do you understand? So that's not the type of fear we're talking about. We're talking about fear of, oh, I'm scared of videos. Oh, I'm scared to speak. Oh, I'm scared to apply for this job. I'm scared to ask for this amount of money. So I'm just trying to tackle that basic fear. If you've noticed that you're scared to do videos, you're scared to speak in front of crowds, you're scared to whatever, throw yourself into those situations. Put yourself in situations where you have to speak. put yourself in situations where you have to shoot videos. Initially, before the pandemic, used to hate videos a lot. I would do them, but I wasn't just really comfortable doing videos. But during the pandemic, I challenged myself and I was shooting videos like no man's business. I was going on lives, and that led me to speak to Seth Godin. So imagine if I did not conquer that fear, I probably would not have had the mind to invite Seth Godin for a live and actually have a conversation. So my point is, throw yourself at the situation, consistently practice. It's not as bad as you think it is. And eventually you'll notice that you've been able to deal with that fear. Second thing, the idea of creating or planning something, like setting the goal in the first place. So I've seen a lot of people wake up in the morning of January 1st and say things like, oh, I want 20,000 followers. That's my goal for the year. I want 10 million naira. That's my goal for the year. In the next 4 years, I want to build a big house. That's my goal. Now, these are very, very valid goals. However, you need to ask yourself, why do I want these things? A lot of us want things, but we don't really know why we want these things. You know, it's like you watch Netflix so much that you've seen the depiction of what a rich person should be. So you want to look like that rich person. So you want to buy Chanel bags and you just want to do things. And you don't even understand the motivation for doing the things that you're claiming that you want to do. You don't know if it's based on influence from watching too many media things, or if it's from Instagram, or if it's just a peer pressure. You don't know. So you need to actually have a full conversation with yourself. This thing that I claim to want, do I really want it, or am I influencing it on myself because I'm seeing other people have it? Having that kind of frank conversation with yourself is also going to help you set the tone for your life, because then you will notice, okay, maybe I don't really want this thing. So let me give you a perfect example. I used to think I wanted a very big house. You know, I always thought about it. Like I wanted a big house that is gonna. When I finally moved into a big house, you know, I vowed that the house I'm going to eventually end up buying must not be this big. It must not be this. Like I should have space, but I shouldn't have too many rooms that I have to furnish and clean or get people to clean. You know, I don't want to live in a castle. It's not my goal. Like I just realized that that's really not what I want for my life. You know, there are other important things that I can make my goal. So bringing me back now to the conversation on purpose. You don't figure out purpose by waiting for a divine ministration to follow you. You know, it's just not going to appear to you in a dream. You're not going to get prophesied to. You know, if somebody even prophesies to you, you might want to lift one eyebrow. You might not figure out your purpose that way. One of the ways you would figure out your purpose is by doing. So I am encouraging you, before we go deep into this session, please, 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 don't feel the need to say you're waiting to discover your purpose. You don't wait to discover your purpose. You do to discover your purpose. So just don't stay idle. Find something meaningful to do and do it, right? So now let's move into goals. When I am setting a goal in my life, I set 3 types of goals. I set habit goals, process goals, and achievement goals. What I've noticed is most people set achievement goals alone, and that's not a bad thing. It's just achievement, right? And so after you've achieved, what next? Can you replicate what you have achieved? Examples of achievement goals. I want to have 10,000 followers. I want to buy a car. I want to buy a house. You know, those are achievement goals. I want to get my MBA. I want to other things. Those are all achievement goals. Like there is a thing that you really want to do. And oh wait, I shouldn't get here first. I should be talking about SMART goals before I talk about this. But it's fine. Yeah, so those are achievement goals, right? But what I've noticed is, like, let's say one of your goals this year was you wanted to hit $10,000. Guys, if you've been on any of my webinars before, I know I sound very serious right now. So, but this is because your life is serious business. I don't want to play too much. So just bear with me, okay? All right. So $10,000 was your goal for 2021. No, let's say for 2020. Let's assume that you actually hit $10,000 by the end of the year. You saved $10,000. Problem now becomes, after you have saved $10,000 2020, can you comfortably save another $10,000. I mean, before the 2021. Can you just wake up in the morning and just like do it? Can you remember the things that you did to help you? Chances are no. I noticed that a lot of people just like have achievement goals and that's that. However, if you evolve a little bit and set process goals, things that are going to create systems as opposed to just like milestones to hit, that makes your life a lot more better. So perfect examples of how you can set system goals, right? Let me tell you what I do. Again, I am not trying to be a doctor for your goals. So just know that, please. I am just giving you tips that have worked for me, and I hope that they can work for you too. When you finish listening to everything I've said, go and try and pick one thing, two things, or three things that you're going to implement. Try them out. Do they work for you? Do they not? Are there things you can tweak? That kind of thing. Okay, so back to process goals. So how I create my process goals, or how I ensure that I can create processes and systems after setting a goal, is this. I document things. So let's assume that I was going to make $10,000 in 3 months. Yeah, let's say I wanted to make $10,000 for a quarter. I am also, as I'm setting that goal, making a mental note that henceforth, I should be able, like, I shouldn't ever go lower than $10,000 per quarter again. Like, once I've won $10,000 per quarter, that should be the least amount ever that I would make per quarter. Sorry, guys. AirPod. Okay, so what after that? Next thing I do is I document. So what did I do this week to help me hit my 10,000 goals? I write it down. Did I come up with a new course? How many links and like how much did I make from that course? Did I do XYZ? Did I get a new job? What did I do exactly? And so I try to document, and which is why keeping a journal is important in your goal setting process. So keep a journal, try every week to check out what did I do today and how did I get here? This thing that I tried to do, what results did it give me? Document. As you write these things down, by the end of that quarter, if you eventually hit the 10K goal, you'll be able to trace your steps back and say, okay, these were the key things I did that worked. So how can I automate this process to ensure that I don't even have to do it again? Let's assume that you created an online course while you were trying to hit your goal, and your online course brought you revenue of about $2,000. Now you know that you have the potential to make $2,000. So next thing you do after that is you set up a process. You create maybe an automated system to ensure that every quarter you probably launch. After you do this. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So every quarter you now set up a system to ensure that you can relaunch your courses, or you can relaunch a digital product that's going to make you more money. You'll also remember, how did I promote my courses when I was doing it? So I'm using courses as an example because I'm assuming that there are a lot of people here who are very digital inclined. But if you'd like me to use another example, please suggest it in the chat box. So recognize something that you're going to do towards a habit. Another example I can give is, towards the process. Now, talking about habit goals are more continuous, like maybe a goal could be, I want to maintain a minimalist lifestyle throughout 2021. Me, I'm very minimalist, but let's just assume like that's your own goal. And so maybe one of the things you want to focus on in creating that kind of lifestyle is that you're going to ensure you have only 100 clothes per time. Meaning before you buy any clothes, you have to give off one cloth. That becomes a habit if you do it consistently every time. Another way would be to say, I want to keep my kitchen, I want to keep my environment tidy, which means that every time you pick something, you have to keep it back. Another goal could be, I want to develop a reading habit. So I want to read 15 minutes every single day. So those are different types of goals that you can set that are very habit inclined, that could sort of help your life. And those live with you after, it stays in your body. It just becomes part of you. So you're not faking it. You're not trying to it's not like I want to wash plates this month. It's more like I don't want to have dirty plates in the sink kind of goals. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Please, if you're following, drop a comment in the chat session to let me know that you're following, you're with me, I'm not boring you, just tell me something, tell me something, tell me. All right, so moving on, how to set goals. So I know everybody has heard the SMART, SMART goals all the freaking time. And I know it sounds very annoying, like everybody's just always talking about smart goals, smart goals, smart goals. The fact is that in everything you do, I don't even care if your goal is not, in fact, it's important. That's just the truth. The smart goals are important. So first things first, you have to be super, super specific. Don't just be like, I want more followers. More followers is not a number. Like, how would you track it? So ensure that whatever you're saying is very, very specific. Also ensure that it is measurable. Give it numbers, add percentages, add anything you can use to quantify. So maybe you want to get a job. Don't just be like, I want to get a job. Say, I want to get this type of job. Like, be very specific about the kind of job that you want to get. And then ensure that what you're asking for is attainable. Let's assume you've never made 1,000, let's say you've never made 100K before. You can't just wake up tomorrow and just be like, I want to make $100,000 when you've not made 100,000 naira yet. So that just feels like not very attainable. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't start off your life setting big, audacious goals. How I do my goal setting style is I think about my life in general and I ask, when people are reading my eulogy, when people are talking about me if I'm gone, what do I want to really be remembered for? It's very important to me. Who do I want to be? Because I know I'll be dead, and I'll be gone. Nobody would know that I wouldn't know that I'm gone because I'm gone, right? But people would know that I'm gone. And I want to know, I would like them to say particular things. And I don't even care about what they say really. I would like them to feel particular things. And one of the biggest mission I have in my life is that I'm going to leave you a little bit better than you first met me, right? And that has always guided me. It's like my mantra for my life. So it's not like I'm trying to do it on purpose all the time, but it has now become a part of my life. It's like how I live my life now. So now that I know that that's what I want, I can now distill a little bit and be more specific. How do I really want to impact people's lives? Right? And what kind of things do I need to have to be able to impact people's lives? Now, you don't have to always be altruistic like me. You could come from a different angle. Maybe you want to be known as the richest person in the world by the time you're dying. And be sure that you know why you want to become the richest person in the world. So when you are taking on that thing on yourself, you now want to ask yourself, for me to become this thing that I've said I want to be, what things should I have accomplished in the next 5 years? What big goals could I accomplish if there were, if I had no obstacles, if nothing was stopping me? What goals could I accomplish? That's literally how I start. What goals could I have accomplished if nothing was, what do I really want to do? Last year, I asked the question on my Insta story, and I was like, if nothing was stopping you, what would you like to do? And people are just like, I'd like to travel the world. And everything, to be honest, everything people said, there was nothing that was not attainable. Literally things like, I like to travel the world. I would like to meet Obama, maybe. I like to meet Obama. I would like to be featured on X show. I would like to have X things. And I'm like, all these things are attainable. Do you want to travel the world? First, make a list of, please, if you want to travel the world, tell me, if you're one of those people who want to travel the world. In fact, let's just do the exercise now. Yeah. If nothing was stopping you, right? Nothing at all was stopping you. What would you want to do? So tell me in the chat section. I'll just take a minute. Let me see. I want to know. Yo, tell me. Nothing. No, nothing stopping you. No, what's it called? No. Yeah, no barriers. No nothing. Nothing is stopping you. You can achieve anything you want to achieve. What would you like to achieve? Guys, I'm not seeing chat, so what's happening? What would you like to achieve? Tell me. There was nothing stopping you, no obstacle whatsoever. Money was not a problem. Passport was not a problem. Start a movie production. Okay, thank you so much. Chikozie. Yeah. Make 5 billion naira. Koyi, I love it. 5 billion naira a year. Build a school and community for kids. Build a school and community for kids in underserved areas. I like to take my family on a vacation and retire my parents. See, guys, I love the energy. So somebody said 5 billion naira per year. Please, the person who is saying 5 billion naira per year, if you convert that to dollars, how much is that? Is that like $5 million, or I mean $1 million or something? Like, tell me, how much is that? So the reason I'm asking is because, like, I want people to see how easy this life is. That should be about $10 million using 500 naira as an exchange rate. So that's just like $10 million. So everything that you guys have written here, right? Wow, out of 13 people, only 4 people answered me. You guys are trying, you know. What is this energy? I don't like it. I don't like it, please. The people who have not answered, please, can you put your answers in the chat box? Thank you. So I want to start with like the first person who said, I would like to start my, yeah, so about $30 million. Ah, God, my math is not bad at all. Proud of myself. All right, so let's start with like each goal here. Let's start with, in fact, I'm going to use you guys as examples going forward so this can be a little bit more practical. So your goal is that you want to make, you want to start your movie production, and that is not unrealistic at all. At all, it's not. Like, I mean, it's possible. I mean, Delaperi already has his movie production. There are people who are already doing this, right? So question now is, what do you need to start a movie production? What qualifications, what licenses, what exposures, what kind of things do you need in your life, you know, to start a movie production? I hope you're writing. So you figure that out, write a list. What do I need to start a movie production? Coin, you want to make $30 million. There are people that have already made $30 million. There are people that have already made $10 million. Go and look for those people. Who are they? What did they do? How much do you need to make for you to start? Like, what do you need to do to help you start making $10 million, or rather $13 million, $13 million per year? And $30 million per year is simply just $1 million per month. There are people who are already living this life. What can you build? What can you create? What can you do to help you start making $4 million per month? Go and find people who are doing it and then write down a list. Somebody else said, build a school and community for kids in underserved areas. This is not even difficult at all. I'm just like, what? Great. So what do you need to do? What do you need to build a school and community for kids in underserved areas? I would like to take my family on a vacation and retire my parents. That's great. How much does it cost to take your family on a vacation? And how much would be enough retirement fund for your parents? Somebody wants to work in the best tech firm. You would have to also be more specific by determining what is best for you. What do you define as best tech firm? Make a list of your top 10, top 12 best tech firms. Is it best tech firm in Africa, best tech firm in the world, best tech firm where, right? Make a list. See, this is already looking good. Now let's move on. Now you've made the list, everything is looking nice. Next question. Oh, Faith wants to buy her house. Where? Now you see, these are now that you've now thought about buying your house, being debt free. Next question you want to do is make a list of all the debts in case you're owing debts already. Make a list of all your debts. Arrange them in descending order, so from highest to lowest. How much do you need to make to pay off the debt? Then make a list. Where do you want houses, and how much are those houses right now? Now, those big ideas that you have made, because you're now beginning to think about it and you're beginning to see that there are people around you who have already done these things, you now want to distill it a little bit into 5-year plans. So now let's take each one that you guys have done and make them into 5-year plans, right? 5-year goals. Now, with these goals that we're about to make, with these 5-year goals we're about to make, remember, they're going to be very specific. They're going to be more measurable, like you need to put numbers to them. They're going to be attainable, like attainable within 5 years. They're going to be relevant. You see that relevant part? It's very important. It has to be in line with these dreams. Now, you see, you've told me dreams. So when you're now going to set your 5-year goals, the things that you're going to be writing have to be relevant to your dream. Sorry, guys. I don't know why my effort keeps falling. Give me a minute. I think it's because of my big earrings. My earrings and my effort. My ears, attention. All right, moving on. So we were saying, my earring is fun. Minutes, guys. We were saying you have to be specific, measurable, attainable. Then relevant. A lot of people say realistic, but I feel like if you're already attainable, like if it's attainable already, it means it's realistic. So relevant is more important to me, as in relevant to the dreams that you have for your life, and then you have to make it time bound, right? So let me give you a good example of a good goal. I want to take one online course in branding each quarter to help me increase knowledge in my field. Now, the measurable part is the one. The specific part is online course in branding. The attainable part is that you're doing it, you want to take one online course in branding, meaning that that's attainable. It's not difficult to take one online course in branding per quarter. So it's attainable. Then the per quarter, like each quarter is time bound. You put it to a time. If you can even be more specific, it would be nice. Then the relevant part is increase my knowledge in the field. So I really want to increase my knowledge in the field. That's why I'm taking this course. And so just always adding that relevance, like the why you're doing this thing, gives you more motivation to do it. Now let's come back to all your goals over here and see how we can turn them into 5. Sorry, I just raised my hand for no good reason. So let's see how we can turn those things into 5-year goals. Now, coming back to start your movie production. So in the next 5 years, what can you do to ensure that you can start your movie production? Like in the next 5 years. See, this goal is not impossible. Do you need to go to New York Film School? Do you need to just, make alliances in the what's it called now? In the movie industry? What do you need to do? Coin. What do you need to do to start making $13 million in a year? What do you need to do to start making $1 million in a year? For you to start making $1 million later, how much do you need to make within the next 5 years or in the next 5 years? How do you want to grow your earning? You figure out, where am I now? On a very realistic note, where am I now? So how can I grow from where I am now to where I want to get to, which is $5 million? So 5 years is like I'll call it a long-term goal. So what kind of things can you do to help you start making $1 million in a year? Could you do online courses? Could you create online courses that can earn you $1 million in a month? Could you? And in fact, remember, right now we're not talking about, in a year rather, we're not talking about $1 million in a year. We're talking about $1 million, in a month. We're talking about $1 million in a year, which is literally like 100K. So for you to first start earning, the $10 million in a year, you need to at least hit the goal of $1 million now. So let's assume that in the next 5 years, you want to be able to make $1 million. So how can you start working towards earning 100K per month? Do you see where I'm going with this? So you will now begin to find people who teach things around how to make 100K in a month. Are there particular jobs you have to have? Is there a type of job you have to have? What kind of passive income would you have to be part of? Are there people you can go and join now? Do you want to go and be part of Money Africa? Do you want to be part of communities? Are there communities you can be part of that would help inspire you towards earning this particular and towards reaching this particular goals that you have in mind? Oluwanifemi wants to build a school and community for kids. Great. So what kind of kids? Where? Underserved areas, great. But can you identify one underserved area that you want to really, really reach? What kind of school do you want to build? What do you need to build a school? And then in the next 5 years, what kind of things can you do to be very specific? So let me give a good example. One of the 5-year goals I would have made if I were you would be to partner first with schools to reach these communities as their CSR. So since I cannot build the school yet, how about the people who have already built schools? Should I take them there first? Because first you have to build track record. People need to know that this is something you're passionate about. So that in the next 5-10 years, you would actually, when you now say, I want to build a school, people would be driving in to throw money at you. They'll be giving you grants, like, take, we trust Nifemi. Nifemi is good at building things. Nifemi was the one who brought Harvard to come and invest in X kid in Ghana, or Nifemi was the person who brought X number of school, maybe Covenant University, to come and influence or invest in XXX people and give them scholarships. Things like that. You want to take your family on a vacation, great. But can you start by taking them on a vacation within Nigeria first, or even within the city, maybe a staycation? How much do you need to get the staycation done? What kind of things can you do to ensure that you can afford a full staycation? What kind of jobs do you need? What kind of things do you need to start doing? Make that the 5-year goal, right? So I can't figure out because I don't know everybody's life. So I can't really tell you what you will do for yourself by yourself, But I could suggest. So if I was trying to take my family for a staycation within Lagos, for example, let's assume that I'm taking them first to Takwa Bay, no? Should we do Takwa? No. Let's do La Campagne. So maybe I'll take them to La Campagne Tropicana first. La Campagne Tropicana might cost me about 250K for everybody in the family, maybe. I don't know how big your family is. So if it's already cost me 150K, which is not a lot, then maybe plus transportation, maybe like 200K for everything. How much am I earning now? And how can I increase my earning power to be able to afford 200K within the next 5 years? So that's how you first set your 5-year goal. Next thing, you want to distill. You want to be able to say, in the next 5 years, I want to be X, I want to do X, and I want to have X. So guys, write it down. In the next 5 years, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? In the next 1 year, now after setting that 5-year goal, the reason why you're setting 5-year goal is to make your dreams a little bit more realistic, like is to put it in perspective, because every dream you have said is very achievable with or without obstacles. It's achievable. You can travel the world. In fact, let me even use this travel the world example. That's what I'm going to use for the 5 years, 1 year, and everything goal that I'm going to talk about. So let's assume that I wanted to travel the world and I am already in Nigeria with Nigerian passport. So maybe my 5-year goal could be relocate to Canada and get Canada passport so that I would have more access to more countries. That could be my 5-year goal. So I would say in the next 5 years, within the next 5 years, I want to relocate to Canada. This is not, please don't take this example. I'm just using it as an example, right, guys? So let's assume that the next 5 years, because my passport is Nigerian passport and it's not exactly great, and it's going to cost me more money if I were using my passport to travel and see the world, I want to make my bills cheaper by relocating to Canada within the next 5 years. And I would be probably specific. So what would be the easier way for me to relocate to Canada? So maybe I would say now that I want to, in the next 5 years, I want to be a Canadian citizen. I want to travel to at least X number of countries. Like that's what I want to do. And then I want to have a Canadian passport, for example. Guys, this is just an example, right? So how do I now distill this into a 1-year goal? So my 1-year goal, because of this particular 5-year goal that I have set, this is just an example of one goal. Please note that you can set up to 3 to 5 goals. It's always nice to keep it super specific. Don't go and set 10. Like keep it to like 3, 5 important things that you think you should be doing with your life. Then my 1-year goal could now become, for me to become a Canadian citizen now. Maybe I don't want to go through the vigorous processes that I'm seeing a lot of people go through. So maybe I should go and learn French from a French school, dedicate 6 months of my life to learning French from a French school so that I can have an upper hand when applying for my Canadian PR, whatever. But while I'm also learning French, maybe I require $5,000 to be able to help me relocate. Or I may need to find a job in Canada. Do I have the right skills for it? So then I would now say in the next 12 months, I need to be maybe within the next 1 year, I need to be a thought leader in marketing. Maybe it's marketing that I like, or let's say architecture is what I like, or I need to be a student in an architectural firm in something, we pick where you want it, but now it's 1 year bound. You would now say, I need to learn French within the next 6 months. And then I need to have what? I need to have $5,000 in my bank account before XYZ. I don't know. So I'm just giving you an example, right? I'm not saying that this is how you should do it exactly, but I hope this gives you perspective. So in the next 6 months, I can now break down my goals and say, okay, so for this to happen, these are the places that I'm going to go. I'm going to enroll in Alliance Française. Maybe Alliance Française is going to give me, I think it's about 70K to learn French every month. So how do I earn the 70K? Are there jobs that I can do? Do you get? So you're beginning to distill it, and look how far we've gone. We've gone from I want to be a Canadian, I want to travel the world, to becoming a Canadian citizen, and now we're going to go and learn French. Do you see how goals can be? Please, if you're following me, give me some vibes in the chat section so that I know that I'm not talking to myself. All right. So now, on a more general note, you can now set things like on a general note, I want to be X. So this one I try to do every year for myself. I want to be dash. I want to try dash. I want to quit dash. I want to have dash. I want to start dash. And I want to continue dash. So this will just sort of give you energy to know, like, these are the things that you are feeling me. You're understanding where I am going with this. I love it. Thank you. So after you have written all those things down, you will now pick each one that you said you wanted to do and break it down into, you now pick 5 parts of your life. This is what I do, Sha. I pick 5 parts of my life and I say, these are the 5 things that really matter to me. Let's say family, career, business, finance, I don't know. Like, just pick 5 things that really matter to you. Those 5 things, you will now set 5 goals under each one. And remember, those goals should tie back to your overarching goal, the dreams that you have for yourself. Please remember that your dreams might change, your goals might change. It's not a problem at all. Right? And so the reason why I'm taking you through this process is also so you know that, like, goal setting shouldn't just be that you wake up in the morning and you just be like, oh, what are my goals for next year? You not just write off the things you've been. Maybe I want to buy a Siciano bag. I want to do XYZ. I want to buy this. I want to buy that. I want to have a new phone. No. You really need to think through the process and ensure that you're not just doing it for the doing sake. After you have written all your 5 goals down, pick each goal and say, okay, this goal, what 5 activities do I have to do to achieve these goals? And what 5 habits do I have to build to keep these goals? So I know that my process is very broken down, right? You're loving it. By the time you're done with your goal, you'll be clear. If next year they now ask you, how Connie, I see you. Well, you also have to be able to afford Birkin bags, and they're not expensive at all. It's about $25,000 and above, so you can achieve it. It's not difficult. That thing you want to do is not hard at all. So moving on. So after you have set all the goals that you want to set, ensure that under every goal you write 5 activities that you want to do to achieve, or 3 to 5 activities that you need to do to achieve that goal. Let's assume one of our goals, like we said, was to learn French. Activities I can do to learn French would be: number 1, download Duolingo. Number 2, Martha, why are you laughing? Is it not achievable to buy a $25,000 bag? It's not a lot of money. See, guys, it's actually not a lot of money. It's $25,000. It's not a lot of money. And money is not, let's not even have that conversation. Because some people just made $11 million out of $50,000 because they invested in stocks. Money is about risk appetite, but let's not go there. Let's move on and talk about activities. So let's assume goal 1 was that we wanted to, what's goal 1? Wanted to learn French before the end of 6 months, right? To enable us travel to Canada or apply to Canada. So activities that are required: number 1, download Duolingo or get Duolingo, right? That's number 1 activity. Get Duolingo and probably use it for a streak of 60 days to 90 days or 120 days, or to, you just decide for 360 days, to perfect your French. Number 2 activities required would be to enroll in Alliance Française for 6 months, maybe, I don't know, or get a French lesson teacher. Yep. Number 3, this is still under learning French. So maybe the next activity could be to find a French, what they call those things, pen pals. So find a French pen pal who you could, converse with in French and gist with and all of that. Number 4, see, I'm coming up. It doesn't have to be too long, sharp, but I'm just saying, let's assume that we could do 5. So number 4 would probably be, Coin, what? Are you, wow. You just came and did shameless plug for your Duolingo link. I see you. Good luck with your pro access, for the rest of the week in case anybody signs with your link. So number 4 would probably be buy a couple of French children's books that you could read and, sort of enlighten yourself. And number 5 could be watch French movies, right? So let's assume that these are like your 5 goals. 5. So what would the habits become? When you've written on that Duolingo that, oh, you want to get the Duolingo app, you won't stop there now. When you're done with all of these things, you can now find an accountability partner, a human being or a bot. You know, a bot could be like any.do, something that will just be, any.do is super annoying, it's an app. It will just be reminding you that you said you are going to achieve this thing. Where is it? You have not marked it. Well, a very, very disrespectful app. I don't even know who created it. Very, very disrespectful. It will just be popping up when you're. It's also like Google Calendar. You know, if you put a calendar on this thing, it's just going to keep reminding you. Lesson. You said you were going to learn French today. Where are you? Duolingo even does that. Thank you, Nifemi. See, I'm not lying. Like, any.do is so annoying. It's like, you have not done XYZ. And I actually imagine that there's somebody actually sitting down there just eyeing us, like, as the app. It's like, oh, you haven't done this thing today. Where are you? You haven't learned your Duolingo today. Where are you? That's how I feel. So find apps like that that would torture your life when you don't do the things you have promised. Find a community also that would inspire you. So if you were trying to learn French, if you had a French community that you could find, that would be interesting, because now you'll be able to find a group of people that you can be learning French with, and it will make it so much interesting. Okay, you like the sound of the app, Abby, you like it. Okay, but please know that the app cannot force you. The app cannot force you to do what you're supposed to do. You know, the app is only going to prompt you, but it's not going to force you to do the things that you're supposed to do. So even if you can just, like alarm clock now, alarm clock can try to wake you up, but it won't wake you up. So it's now up to you to keep saying like snooze, or you just wake up, right? So remember that. So what else was I talking about? So you find things that you can outsource. Ask yourself, do I have to do everything by myself? These goals that I have set, must I do it all by myself? If not, find apps you can outsource to, find platforms you can use, tools that you can use. If, for example, you wanted to start creating French content just to prove to us that you're now a polyglot, you don't have to be creating the content every single day. You can just sit down one day, use Canva, create 20. And then over the next couple of weeks, you would be giving us the post one by one. I would be like, consistency. Woo! So moving on. Next things you have to do now is you have written down your goals for the year, but how do you want to break them down into the month? In the month, pick 2 things or 1 thing, 2 or 1. I like 2, but you can pick 1. Pick 1 thing or 2 things that you really, really want to work towards that tie back to your yearly goals. Then every day, do something at least 30 minutes. Every day. So if, let's assume, French was that thing that you said you really wanted to do, every day, use Duolingo 30 minutes, right? And then whenever you finish your 30 minutes of Duolingo, maybe you would reward yourself with ice cream or biscuits or game or Netflix. But like, always reward yourself whenever you hit the streak of the things that you have set to do for the month. Also, daily, when you create a to-do list, ensure that thing, those 2 things you said you're going to do for the month, the to-do list reflects them. You know, if one of the things you said you're going to do one of the goals you set for yourself for the month is that you want to make $1,000, then in your to-do list, what can you do to ensure that you can make $1,000, or at least $10 every day, or $20 every day it's a monthly goal, so that means we have 30 days. So what can you do to make at least $100 every day to ensure that you meet your targets for $1,000, right? Every day, ask yourself, what did I get done? What worked? What didn't work? What do I need to start doing? What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to keep doing? What's my biggest win for today, and how do I feel? Do I want to keep pushing this goal, or do I not want to? You know, and by the time you're done with all of these things that I have just told you, always review. Every end of the month, just review all these things that I said I would do. Where did have I done it? And don't fall into the dogma of just having one cute book where you write all your goals down. Transfer your goals into your phone, or make it like a vision board. You know, people always cut out things for their vision board. Me, I don't do that. I just pick sticky notes, write with marker. These are the things I want to do, and I put it on different colors of sticky notes, and I hit it on my wall. So that way, when I wake up every morning, I'm seeing it, I'm being reminded, and so it gingers me to go and do the thing that I said I want to do. So I hope this helps you guys on your goal creation journey. I know I've talked a lot. I just want you to pick like 1 or 2 things that we've decided that you're going to do, and do those things. You just decide, pick a thing that you're going to like practice with,
and go and do those things, and let's see results.